I don't do continuous labor support. I don't do labor coaching. I don't do comfort measures or anything like that surrounding the birthing process itself. What's up, mama? Welcome to my channel. My name is Elisa. I'm a postpartum doula and a new parent coach and educator. And today I'm coming to you to shed some light on what exactly a postpartum doula is and what a postpartum doula does. So if that interests you, stay tuned and let's get right into it. In the last couple of years, doulas have become more and more popular. More and more people are familiar with what a doula is, especially when it comes to a birth doula and how doulas impact and help improve outcomes when it comes to the birthing process. But one thing they're not as familiar with is a postpartum doula. So when I'm out and about and I tell somebody, oh, I'm a doula, but I'm specifically a postpartum doula, you know, they say, oh, well, I've heard of a birth doula, but I've never heard of a postpartum doula. What exactly is it that you do? So today I wanted to shed some light on what a postpartum doula is and kind of dive deep into what exactly I do as a postpartum doula, what my work means for new mothers, and just bring some more knowledge and awareness to postpartum doulas specifically. So before I get started, I just want to share that I am not a birth and postpartum doula. I am solely a postpartum doula, meaning I only work with new parents in the postpartum period. Now, I do provide prenatal support when it comes to getting ready for baby and getting ready for life after birth and preparing for the transition from being a single person into being a parent. So I do work with new parents in the pregnancy stage, but I do not provide any type of labor support. I don't do continuous labor support. I don't do labor coaching. I don't do comfort measures or anything like that surrounding the birthing process itself. I specifically come in and provide that continuous postpartum support. So I get hands-on with you after baby is born. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the word doula. Doula is the Greek word for servant, and it was more specifically used when referencing female servants or women servants who were supporting the women of the household. And so we've kind of taken that word and co-opted it into the title of this career. But some other words that you might hear instead of doula might be a birth coach or a parenting coach. You might also hear birth worker. You might hear a perinatal professional. And perinatal refers to the pregnancy and postpartum period. So if you hear perinatal, you can be pretty sure that that person supports parents during pregnancy and after birth. So those are some of the words that you might hear interchanged with the word doula, but I think doula right now is not only is it the most unique, but it's also the word that we've been using, and so of course it is the most popular. A doula in the perinatal sense is a non-medical support person that becomes a part of your support team. They provide education and they're an expert really on normal postpartum and what to expect in the normal recovery process. And when it comes to a postpartum doula, we're experts on the postpartum period. So we know what is normal and what falls inside that range of normal when it comes to your healing, your recovery, your progression, and how you are adjusting to your new role. And it also, we're trained to recognize what's normal for newborn babies. You know, what does a normal newborn baby look like? How does a normal newborn baby act and behave? And what are some temperaments that we should know about? And what are normal crying patterns and sleeping patterns? So as a postpartum doula, we are trained to be the experts on normal. And when things fall outside of that range of normal, we have a ton of resources, referrals that we can send to you, other birth pros and perinatal professionals that can support you. So a postpartum doula really is, I like to say, a bridge over the gaps between those first 2 to 6 weeks after birth and the extended postpartum period. Because, you know, postpartum really has phases. Once you get to that 6 to 8 week checkpoint that your provider will give you, you're really still considered postpartum, and you're not necessarily in the clear for any complications that can arise. And so a postpartum doula, we have so many touch points compared to your typical providers, your OBGYN or your midwife after you give birth. And so a postpartum doula really is somebody that can fill in, bridge the gap, help connect you to those resources, and make sure that you're really healing in the best way possible for you. A postpartum doula's focus is on the postpartum parent, the parent that's just given birth, and their physical, emotional, mental, social, everything, all of the aspects of their healing and recovery, and how the doula can just be an extra set of hands or a support person to make things a little bit easier. In my work, I like to say that I can either, get stuff done so that you can focus on holding your baby, or I can hold your baby for you so that you can focus on getting stuff done. But it's really up to you. I mean, I've gone to visits and where I've had a mom who wants to have some mommy me time, and I don't care what she does. If you want to go read a book, if you want to take a walk, if you want to scroll on social media, if you want to sleep, if you want to just sit in silence, I totally understand, and that is not my space to judge. My job as your postpartum doula is to be a safe presence, a trusted presence, someone that you can trust to keep an eye on your baby, so that you can really relax and take that time for yourself. I just want to talk about some of the benefits of a postpartum doula. When you decide to welcome a postpartum doula into your support squad, into your postpartum support squad, your circle, your dream team, like you might want to call it. Some of the benefits that you might experience when working with the postpartum doula are you're gonna have a greater chance of reaching your infant feeding goals, whether that be breastfeeding, pumping, formula feeding, bottle feeding, or any combination of the former. Whatever you choose and whatever you decide, your doula is going to be there to not only educate you, but provide hands-on support in that moment, give you feedback, observe, your feeding techniques. Are you getting a good latch? Are you holding the bottle properly? Are you preparing bottles properly? Your postpartum doula is going to be a wealth of knowledge when it comes to how you've just chosen to feed your baby. And so having that wealth of knowledge right there in your home, in your pocket, on your support team is going to really help you to tap into all of that knowledge and education and support so that you can achieve the goal that you set for yourself in terms of feeding your baby. Working with a postpartum doula will also lower your risk for things like postpartum depression or other perinatal mood and anxiety disorders like postpartum anxiety. And also having a postpartum doula, especially one who is a part of your care plan, they're going to really help you have a faster recovery. They're going to help you to put those actions in place that your providers and your therapist or whoever might have recommended to you. And your postpartum doula is going to be someone that is a support person that's going to help you take those actions, make sure that you're taking your medication, or make sure that you're going to your therapy appointments, or, following up with you and checking in and seeing how are you, feeling about the resources that you're working with. Working with a postpartum doula is also going to help you to master all of those little baby care skills and even your self-care skills a lot faster. You're going to be able to get, the insider tips and strategies, how to swaddle, the best ways to get a good tight swaddle rather than, wasting days and hours thinking, oh, my baby, I can't tell you how many clients have told me, oh, my baby hates the swaddle. And they say, well, can you show me how you're swaddling them? And they show me their swaddling technique, and it's loose, and baby's able to just break their arms out instantly. And once I show them my swaddling technique and how to get a good snug wrap, they love using the swaddle with their baby. And so having a postpartum doula on your team is going to really help you to master a lot of those parenting skills faster, because they're going to help, they're going to be able to tap into the knowledge and insight that they've gained from working with all of the families that they've worked with over the years. And so they're going to bring that they're going to bring that collective knowledge and share that with you and say, oh, I think this might work for you. How, what do you think about this? And so they're going to give you little things to try and little tips and hacks and things like that to make things a lot easier for you. And while you're mastering these skills faster, that also means that you're going to be building up not only your confidence in yourself, but your belief that I can be a good mom. I can do this. I can take care of my baby. I am the perfect parent. I may not be perfect, but I'm the perfect parent for my baby, and I can do this. And having a postpartum doula on your team is really going to help you get to that place faster. And once you get there, it's like a light shines on you, the clouds open up, and you're like, yes, I got this as a mom. And, it's just going to give you so much confidence, especially as you move into newer challenges, now that your baby is not a newborn anymore. So having a postpartum doula working with you is just so beneficial to you as a new mom. It's really going to help you just step into your motherhood era with confidence, clarity, and feeling comfortable. So one of the questions that I get the most often, whether I'm out and about talking about my work as a postpartum doula or whether I'm doing a consultation, is what does a typical day in the life look like as a postpartum doula? How do your visits go? What do you actually do when you are there with a new mom? I don't know why. I know why people ask this question, because postpartum is such a quiet, inward, secretive time, and we don't get a lot of insight into it unless you've gone through it yourself or someone that you're close with that's gone through it. And so I do get that question a lot, like, what exactly do you do? Like, people can't even imagine. But it's very simple. Honestly, my work does, when you're looking at it, from a bird's eye view, of course, it does seem very simple and basic, but when you get down into the nitty-gritty of it and you see the things that mom is going through and what she's recovering from, it makes sense. So here are just some of the things that a postpartum doula might do during their shift. But remember, every doula is different and every postpartum doula is different. Some doulas focus more on the practical side of the support, whether that be helping out with household tasks like washing bottles and meal prep and laundry and organization, whereas other doulas may focus more on the holistic healing side of their postpartum work and focusing more on incorporating healing modalities for mom, doing things like postpartum belly binding, preparing herbal sitz baths, also meal prep. If you are considering working with a postpartum doula, to really ask those questions. And actually, the first thing that you're really going to want to do is to really figure out what it is that you're looking for in terms of the type of support that you need. Are you looking for more practical support around the house, or are you wanting more support that focuses on you specifically and your holistic healing? Maybe you want a combination. And once you really get clear on that, you will have so much more clarity when you're searching out a postpartum doula for yourself. So if you do need help kind of getting clear on what kind of postpartum doula support you want, or even what you want your postpartum experience to look like, I highly suggest you check out my postpartum vision board kit. I'm going to link it down in the description box below, but you can download that vision board kit and it's going to give you some journaling prompts, some conversation prompts, and space for you to kind of write out all of the ideas that you have for yourself and when it comes to your postpartum healing and recovery, what you envision for your postpartum experience, how you want your postpartum experience to look, and how you want it to feel. And that's going to be a great foundation for you to then go on to searching for a postpartum doula and starting your postpartum planning process. And so I'll definitely link that down in the description box below so you can check it out and get started on really crafting your ideal postpartum experience. But now let's get back to what types of things a postpartum doula might do during their shift. And these are just some of the things that I try to do at each visit, but this is not a comprehensive list. So this is just what a typical visit looks like for me. But like I said, every postpartum doula is different, so their visit and their process is going to be different as well. When I first arrive at your house, I come in, I take off my shoes, I put on my doula slippers, I wash my hands, and then the first thing I do is I check in with you to see how your healing and recovery is going. How have you been sleeping? How have you been eating? How's baby care been going? How has feeding been going? Any challenges that have arisen or anything that we talked about at our last visit that I want to follow up on? That's the time that I'm going to do that. Now, during this visit, I might also prepare tea or breakfast. I may make a light snack for you if you haven't eaten yet. If it's something that you have requested, I might prepare lunch or prepare a meal that you can have for dinner later that day. And while I'm in the kitchen, I also try to always make sure that I wash the baby bottles and the breast pump parts. Like, that is something I try to do at every single visit and get those things in the sterilizer and ready to go, so that mom has everything nice and clean when I leave. I also like to do postpartum belly binding at every visit, and that starts out with a light abdominal massage, a light womb massage, and then I use a warming body oil, and I use my postpartum belly binding wrap, and I wrap you up nice and snug, not too tight. I wrap you up nice and snug so that you can wear your wrap for the rest of the day. And typically my clients will wear the wrap until bedtime, and then they'll take it off. I might also prepare some postpartum herbs like an herbal sitz bath or a yoni steam if that's something that you have requested for your customizable package. Or I might do a beautiful floral foot bath if you're feeling like you need just some extra pampering that day. And then some other things that I definitely try to get to if I have the time are things like restocking the diaper station, straightening up in the nursery, and washing, drying, and folding baby laundry and mama laundry. Sometimes I don't have time to get to everything on that list, but I do my best and I have my priorities. So my priorities are always checking in with you, following up with some of the things from our last visit, making sure that you've got water and that you've either had breakfast or I'm making you breakfast. I definitely like to make sure that I get those bottles and breast pump parts washed, as well as doing a postpartum belly binding session during our visit. Everything else is kind of really up to you. Like, I typically like to ask, like, what are your top 3 things that you would like to get done while I'm here for our visit today? And so I'll have like a little checklist based on that. So you may say, I really want to get the cloth diapers washed, and so my focus that day is washing the cloth diapers, getting them either hung to dry or putting them in the dryer, getting them out, getting them folded and put away, so that, like I said, everything is clean and ready to go for you when I leave. So that's it. That is everything you need to know about postpartum doulas, what a postpartum doula is, what a postpartum doula does at a visit. And so if you are thinking about working with the postpartum doula and you're maybe just not sure where to start, I definitely recommend that you check out my postpartum vision board kit. It's linked down there in the description box below. It's a great resource for you just to help get you started, get all of those ideas that are up in that brain out onto paper so that you can start really creating and curating your postpartum experience so that you can have just the best healing and recovery and just have a smooth transition into motherhood. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.